Welcome to the deep dive. We're taking a plunge into the Google Cloud Platform technology nuggets from the first half of May 2025. Think of this as like your insider's track to the most significant developments. The information that will actually move the needle for you without getting bogged down in excessive detail.
Exactly. I mean, these biweekly updates cover a huge amount of ground. Everything from cutting-edge advancements in artificial intelligence and machine learning right through to practical improvement for developers, data analysts, database administrators, and security pros. So our goal here is really to extract the core insights, give you a clear, insightful understanding of what's happening in Google Cloud right now, and crucially, why it matters.
Okay, great. Let's unpack this then. Starting with AI and machine learning, it's a space that seems to be evolving faster than ever. One thing that keeps coming up is the increasing complexity of building multilingual chatbots that feel truly seamless.
Yeah, it sounds straightforward on the surface, right? But when you're dealing with multiple language models, translation services, things can get pretty complicated pretty quickly.
So what's the new development here?
Well, what's fascinating is the emergence of the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. You can think of it as kind of a universal translator, but for the back end of your AI.
Okay.
It's a standardized communication protocol. It lets different large language models,
Yeah.
the brains like Gemma and Gemini, connect and interact with all sorts of external tools and services. And it does this in a really consistent and efficient way.
A standard protocol. That sounds significant.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah.
This move towards standardization, it could unlock entirely new ways of building complex AI apps.
Yeah.
Because developers can mix and match specialized models, maybe from different providers even. I imagine the flexibility. You can use the best translation model available with, say, a top-tier reasoning engine, all working together smoothly within one framework.
Right, and we even got a glimpse of the architecture, didn't we? I think it showed Gemma acting as the main hub, and through this MCP, it could talk to a dedicated translation LLM or Gemini Pro or even the really fast Gemini Flash.
Exactly. And not just other models. It can also pull in information from your own local data sources or tap into some remote service out on the internet.
It really does sound like building with Lego bricks, where all the different AI bits can just snap together and understand each other.
Precisely. And, as AI moves from just experiments into real-world production, the demands shift quite a bit. It's not just about getting the right answer anymore. It's also about ensuring you have the necessary computing power, the capacity, and that those answers come back reliably in a predictable time frame.
Which leads us to Vertex AI prediction dedicated endpoints.
That's right. Google Cloud introduced these to address exactly those production needs.
Okay, so if you're running serious AI applications, the ones critical to your business, this sounds like a pretty big step forward. You get your own dedicated slice of the network, is that it?
Yep. Which translates directly to lower latency, so faster response times. Plus, you can handle much larger amounts of data in a single go, process things for longer without timing out. And you can even use more advanced communication methods like streaming data or gRPC.
Which is that high-performance communication thing, right? Often used for distributed systems.
Exactly. So performance is key. But beyond the speed gains, these dedicated endpoints also offer enhanced security. For organizations with really stringent compliance rules, they can integrate seamlessly with Google Cloud Private Service Connect. That ensures all those sensitive prediction requests travel over a private, secure network connection, not the public internet.
Got it. Okay, so moving beyond just text. The idea of AI acting as an intelligent agent seems to be getting much more real. We're talking apps that can understand voice, interpret video, interact with the world.
And this is where the Gemini Live API comes into play.
Yeah.
This is where things get really, really interesting, I think. Well, the Gemini Live API enables low latency, two-way voice, and video interactions with Gemini. Imagine having a natural, sort of human-like voice conversation with an AI
Okay.
that you can also interrupt and correct, just like talking to another person.
Wow. Interruptible voice and video AI. That feels like a major leap.
It really does. And it's not just about talking. This API is multimodal.
Meaning it can process text, audio, and video all at once.
Simultaneously, yes. And it can respond with both text and audio. It's really about leveraging all these different kinds of data, audio, visuals, text in a continuous stream.
And there was that real-world example, wasn't there, inspecting a motor?
Yeah, a really compelling one. Using the Gemini Live API for a live visual inspection of a motor, the AI could literally see the motor, understand the spoken descriptions of the problem, and then suggest repair procedures right there. in real time.
That really highlights the potential, doesn't it? AI truly perceiving and interacting with the physical world dynamically. Now, let's maybe touch on something a bit more conceptual that came up. This intersection of vibe coding and those MCP servers we discussed. Vibe coding. It sounds a bit out there. What's the idea?
Yeah. The name's a bit catchy. Think of it as a more intuitive, almost conversational way of telling an AI what to do. So instead of writing precise lines of code, you might describe the outcome you want in natural language, more like giving instructions.
Okay, and how does that connect to MCP servers?
Well, it connects directly to the idea of using tools like the Gemini app or maybe the Gen AI SDK to actually write the instructions for these MCP servers. You could, for instance, give the system instructions for an MCP server expert through a more conversational interface. That's sort of a move towards a more natural AI-assisted way of doing development, lowering the barrier to entry, perhaps.
Interesting. Okay, shifting focus a bit. For developers out there using LangChain and PostgreSQL, there was some news about the LangChain Postgres package, right? From Cloud 25.
Absolutely. Some really welcome updates there. We're talking about native vector index support.
That's big for semantic search and similarity matching, isn't it? Makes setting up vector databases easier within LangChain.
Exactly. Crucial for those kinds of AI applications. There's also support for more flexible database schemas now. Makes it easier to adapt your database design as your application grows or changes. And importantly, the LangChain Vector Store APIs are getting enhanced. There's now a clear separation between setting up the database and actually using it.
Which is good for security and just keeping things clean, I imagine.
Definitely. Better maintainability, better security posture.
Okay. Now, one of the tricky things with generative AI, especially for images and videos, is evaluation, right? How do you know if it's actually any good?
That's a huge challenge. It's not like checking facts in text. Quality is subjective, complex.
So how do you tackle that?
Well, Google introduced Gecko. It's described as a rubric-based, interpretable autorator for image and video generation models. It's now available via the Gen AI evaluation service in Vertex AI. Think of it as like an AI judge for your AI's creative work.
An AI judge? Intriguing. How does it work? How does Gecko, judge?
It's pretty clever, actually. It starts by breaking down the original prompt into its core semantic elements, the key concepts, and how they relate to each other.
Okay.
Then, it analyzes the generated image or video to see if those elements are actually present and related correctly. To do this, it even generates specific questions to check those relationships. Finally, it assigns a score. And maybe most importantly, Gemini itself provides justifications for that score.
So you get insight into why it got that score. That's useful.
Hugely useful. It helps you understand where the model succeeded or failed. There was that example prompt, steaming cup of coffee and a croissant on a table.
Right. Simple enough.
Well, Gecko would break that down. Okay. Steaming cup, coffee, croissant on a table. Then it checks if all those things are in the generated image and if they're arranged correctly. Is the coffee actually steaming? Is the croissant on the table?
Makes sense. Okay, let's shift gears again. Developers and practitioners. Durar, the DevOps Research and Assessment Group, had some interesting findings on generative AI's impact on software development.
Yeah, really interesting, and maybe a bit surprising for some. The initial results weren't all sunshine and rainbows.
Oh. What did they find?
Well, Dora's research actually showed a decrease in both the speed of software delivery throughput and the overall stability of the software.
A decrease when using code generation.
Yes, specifically when those code generation tools weren't properly integrated with established best practices. Things like good documentation, strong code quality focus, thorough testing.
Okay, so just throwing code generation at the problem isn't enough. It can actually make things worse if you don't have the right processes around it.
Exactly. The dip in throughput and stability really highlights a crucial lesson. AI isn't some kind of magic bullet for development. It needs to be integrated thoughtfully into existing workflows, supported by strong engineering principles. It might even suggest a bit of a skills gap emerging as teams adapt.
So simply generating more code faster isn't the answer. You still need that solid engineering foundation. And Google Cloud's response to this challenge seems to be code assist agents.
That's right. These agents are designed to help across the entire software development lifecycle, or SDLC, not just writing the initial code.
What else do they do then?
Things like automated code reviews after the code is checked in, providing intelligent testing suggestions, even helping automatically generate documentation. The idea is to embed AI help throughout the whole process, aiming for both speed and quality, not sacrificing one for the other.
Right, covering the whole life cycle. Okay,
Yeah.
it's always good to see how these technologies are actually being used. The Nuggets gave some customer examples, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, some really cool applications. We saw how Lowe's, the home improvement retailer, is using Vertex AI vector search
What for?
for their Visual Scout product recommendation engine. Sometimes you see something you want, maybe in someone else's house, but you don't know what it's called.
Happens all the time.
Well, Visual Scout lets customers upload images of what they're looking for. It uses vector search to find similar items. Apparently, it's dramatically improving product discoverability and customer satisfaction.
That's clever. Who else?
Formula E, the electric racing series, they built a responsive driver agent platform, gives real-time race info, helps make strategic decisions more transparent.
Interesting. And not just huge companies.
No, Yasser, which is a leading super app in Africa, they built a new operational dashboard on Google Cloud. It's helping them improve service delivery across their markets. And Signal Iduna, a big German insurance group, is using an AI-powered knowledge base. Faster, better customer support.
Okay. Any others that stood out?
Well, Noro, the autonomous delivery company, they're managing millions of real-time image queries crucial for their vehicles to navigate using AlloyDB, efficiently and cost-effectively. And even Mars Wrigley is using the Cortex framework for faster, more agile ad measurement and updates. It really shows the sheer variety of solutions being built.
Definitely a broad range. Okay, let's briefly touch on identity and security. It's always critical, but often feels incredibly complex.
It absolutely is. And the diagram they showed illustrated that identity and access management, access risk, cloud governance, resource management,
Yeah.
all these pieces interacting, and now being enhanced by Gemini too.
So it's foundational. What were the key announcements there from Cloud Next?
Well, several enhancements across the portfolio were mentioned. A big theme was integrating more AI-powered features. The goal is to help organizations manage their security posture more efficiently, more proactively, spotting potential risks sooner.
Makes sense. And for folks tracking threats, there's new CISO Perspectives content.
Yes, the second edition for April 2025 is out. The main focus this time is a data-driven look at threat intelligence, specifically how both attackers and defenders are starting to use AI. That's a really important angle right now.
Absolutely. Okay, moving into data analytics. A really significant development here seems to be integrating Earth Engine within BigQuery.
Oh, this is huge. For those who don't know, Earth Engine is Google's platform for analyzing planetary-scale satellite imagery and geospatial data, massive data sets.
Right, and now you can analyze that directly inside BigQuery using standard SQL.
Exactly. This new capability called Earth Engine in BigQuery lets you run those complex Earth Engine raster analytics right there, mainly using a new SQL function, Stregen Stats, and accessing analysis-ready datasets via BigQuery sharing.
So what's the big advantage of doing it in BigQuery?
The power comes from combining that rich raster data of the satellite images with BigQuery's existing strengths in handling vector data, like points, lines, and polygons. You can seamlessly blend these two types of geospatial data within a familiar data warehousing environment. It just opens up a ton of new possibilities for analysis.
Very cool. Another BigQuery update, the general availability of BigQuery ML contribution analysis models. What problem do these solve?
Imagine you're looking at a key metric, maybe sales per user, across a huge data set with lots of dimensions, location, product category, time period, etc. And that metric suddenly changes. You want to know why? What drove the change?
Finding the root cause, basically.
Exactly. These contribution analysis models automate that process. They identify the key factors, the significant contributors, driving changes in your metrics within these large, complex data sets. It takes away a lot of the manual slicing and dicing you used to have to do.
That sounds incredibly useful for analysts. Okay, also in BigQuery, this new indexing with column granularity, what's that about?
Right, so BigQuery's default search index works at the file level. It helps narrow down which files might contain your search terms.
But that's not always precise enough.
It can be less efficient if the specific info you need is only in certain columns, but the search terms themselves appear in lots of files. Think about searching logs for Google Cloud logging. That phrase might be in tons of log files, but maybe you only care about the error message column.
Okay, so the file level index points you to too many files.
Potentially, yeah. The traditional index is like knowing which books in a library mention a word. This new column-level index is more granular. It stores the mapping of data tokens not just to files, but to the specific columns where they appear.
Ah, so it can pinpoint the data much more precisely, like having an index for each chapter or even page within the book.
That's a good analogy. It allows BigQuery to zero in on the relevant data much faster during query execution. especially for those kinds of selective searches. Big speed improvements possible.
Got it. And still on data analytics, there was a mention of data trustworthiness and the semantic layer concept.
Yeah, this is increasingly important, especially with AI generating more content. How do you ensure your data is reliable, consistent? A semantic layer acts as that single source of truth. It provides consistent definitions for business terms across different data sources.
So everyone means the same thing when they say customer or revenue.
Exactly. Imagine sales data calls them clients, marketing calls them leads, service calls them accounts. A semantic layer maps all that to a common definition. It ensures everyone is speaking the same data language.
And within Google Cloud, the tool for this is LookML, part of Looker.
That's right. LookML is how you build this governed semantic foundation within Looker. It improves accuracy, consistency, and it's also key for enabling more reliable conversational analytics, asking questions of your data in natural language.
Okay, let's switch over to databases. Cloud Next brought AI-assisted troubleshooting for Cloud SQL and AlloyDB. That sounds helpful.
Hugely helpful, I think, for DBAs and developers. Managing databases can be tough.
So what does it do if you have a slow query, for instance?
Yeah, imagine your query performance suddenly tanks. And this new AI assistance can automatically analyze that problematic query. It will try to identify the likely root causes for the slowness, provide specific recommendations on how to fix it, and in some cases, it might even give you a button to apply the suggested fix right there in the Cloud SQL Studio interface.
Wow, apply the fix directly. That's pretty neat. Is it available for different database types?
Yep, currently available for both MySQL and Cloud SQL for SQL Server. So it covers a good chunk of the relational database usage on Google Cloud.
Great. Now, for developers using the Agent Development Kit, the ADK integration with external tools is key, right?
Absolutely. Building intelligent agents often requires them to interact with other systems, APIs, data sources.
And we're back to MCP, the Model Context Protocol. That's the standard way to do this integration.
It's emerging as the standard, yes. These external tools get exposed as MCP servers, and the agent communicates with them via MCP. The Nuggets pointed to a specific blog post that really breaks down how this works. It covers the building blocks, MCP itself, and server-sent events, or SSE.
SSE for the communication part.
Right. And the post demonstrates how to actually connect your ADK agent to these external MCP servers. It also mentions streamable HTTP as the kind of next-gen transport protocol for MCP, aiming for better efficiency. And crucially, it digs into security, how authentication works when these different pieces talk to each other. That's always vital.
Always. Okay, and finally, just a reminder about the overarching Google Cloud AI platform itself.
Yeah, it's good to remember the big picture. The platform's goal is still that comprehensive end-to-end solution, everything from efficiently training powerful AI models to deploying them seamlessly into applications and then serving them at scale cost-effectively.
It's the whole ecosystem.
It's exactly. Customizable components, cutting-edge hardware like TPUs and GPUs, open software principles, flexible ways to pay for it. And Cloud Next brought updates there too. New TPUs like Ironwood optimized for inference, enhancements to GPU infrastructure, and software improvements like Jetstream, that's the JX-based inference engine, and Max Diffusion for generative AI. They even showed performance charts comparing Jetstream on TPU V5e and the upcoming Trillium chips. Continuous improvement on the hardware and software side.
Okay, so to quickly recap our deep dive into these Google Cloud Platform technology nuggets for early May 2025, we've hit some really significant developments in AI and ML MCP, Gemini Live API, very exciting stuff there. We looked at practical updates for developers, LangChain Postgres, AI troubleshooting for databases, useful day-to-day improvements, plus new data analytics power with Earth Engine and BigQuery, column-level indexing, and that focus on the semantic layer, and of course, security advancements.
It's a really valuable snapshot, isn't it? Shows the rapid pace of innovation happening across the entire Google Cloud Platform.
Absolutely. These nuggets really do offer a shortcut to staying informed. And on that note, here's maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. With all these advancements, especially how AI can understand and interact more deeply, plus the growing power of data analytics, how might these technologies fundamentally reshape the way you approach complex problems and drive innovation in your own field? We'd really encourage you to check out the detailed blog posts linked in the original nuggets if any of these topics really spark your interest. There's always more depth to explore. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.